Have you ever noticed something confusing in your faith? You love God and you care deeply about your spiritual life, but the harder that you try to stay consistent, the heavier it all starts to feel. And quietly you begin wondering, why does this faith feel harder than it used to? And if you've ever felt that tension, I want you to know that you are not alone. And the reason may not be what you think. In this video, I'm going to show you why your faith can actually start to feel heavy. And even though you love God and that hasn't changed, it can still feel heavy. And we're going to talk about what's causing that weight and the shift that can help you really have your faith to feel lighter, more natural, and connected again. Hey there, wise woman. This is Deneen TB, your faith growth and work alignment strategist, helping driven Christian women, professionals, and business owners design faith growth rhythms and practices that actually fit their lives without the pressure of doing more so that they can lead with purpose, live on mission, and create lasting influence for God in their work and life. So let's get started with this. The honest reality of it all. There's something that many women, they actually don't say out loud, but I know that they feel it. Faith starts to feel, as I said, heavy. Maybe it feels pressured. Maybe it feels just a little exhausting. Not because you don't love God, but because something about the way that you're trying to grow, it just isn't working anymore. It can look like this. You sit down to read your Bible, but your mind feels scattered and you really walk away from that session feeling like you really didn't get anything out of it. Or you try to stay consistent in a devotional plan, but missing a day turns into some guilt that lingers and actually lingers for more time than you actually missed. Or maybe it looks like you starting your day determined that you're going to spend time with God, but it feels rushed. You kind of try to squeeze it in, and it's something more like something you've put on your to-do list than something you're looking forward to. Or maybe it's that you hear others and how they connect to God, the routines that they have, the rhythms and practices that they follow because it works for them. And so you try to follow it too, but it doesn't really feel that natural to you. So what do? You keep adjusting, you keep trying harder, and you're just hoping that something's going to click along the way. Instead of feeling that connected feeling, what actually begins to happen is it feels like you're just maintaining your faith instead of actually experiencing it. And over time, this creates really that quiet question underneath it all. Why does something that matters so much to me feel so hard for me to sustain? When this happens, most women assume one of three things, or maybe all of them. Maybe you're thinking, well, I just need to be more disciplined. Or you think, I just need to try harder. Or I just need to be more consistent. So they respond by doing this. And maybe you've responded this way too, by doing more, commit to longer quiet times. Oh, I'm going to do it for 45 minutes. Or starting a new reading plan. Oh, maybe it's just the material that I need new, fresh, right? Or maybe you add journaling or prayer lists or try to wake up earlier. Never worked for me, but so instead of feeling better when you're trying all these things, again, it starts to feel more weighted down, heavier. Why? Because the issue really isn't your effort. It is alignment. Here's what that can look like in real life. You try to follow a structured Bible reading plan. You're checking all the boxes, you're staying on track, but instead of feeling connected to God, it starts to feel really rigid and forced. I've got to do this, right? Or maybe you're told, journal your prayers every single day, but staring at that blank page, it feels so draining to you instead of something meaningful. Or maybe you hear, quiet time should look a certain way, right? You have to sit still, you have to read, you have to reflect. But your mind, it just keeps wandering, and you actually leave feeling like you've been failing instead of getting energy. Or maybe even you've been trying to copy someone else's rhythm, their practices, because it works so beautifully for them and you love the way they talk about it, but it doesn't feel beautiful to you. It feels unnatural in your life and in the way that God designed you, your personality, and even in the season of life that you're in, you just don't have that margin. So what do you assume? You assume that the problem is you. But what if it's not? Let's think about that. What if the weight, that pressure that you're feeling is coming from trying to grow in ways that don't actually fit how you connect to God? Because when your practices do not align, how you naturally process and connect, or what your life realistically allows for you to do right now, or the way that God uniquely designed you, even the most meaningful spiritual habits can really start to feel like pressure instead. And that's when that faith begins to feel super heavy. Not because it is, but because the way that you're approaching it is actually unsustainable for you. So I want you to think about it this way. If you tried to follow someone else's workout plan, one that didn't match your body, your energy, how much time you have, your season of life, it might be able to work for a while, but eventually what's going to happen, you're going to feel worn down. You're going to feel frustrated and like you're constantly falling behind. Not because you're incapable of the exercises, but because it's not built for you. Your faith works the same exact way. When your spiritual life is built around what you think you should do instead of how you're actually designed to connect to God, it becomes something that you have to push through and expend a lot more energy instead of something that just naturally draws you in, naturally works for you. So instead of feeling grounded in your faith, you feel kind of scattered all over the place. Instead of feeling connected to God, you feel distant from Him. Instead of your practices renewing you, you feel drained. Then that cycle repeats. You try something, it doesn't work, you question yourself, and you try even harder. Have you done that? Have you been in that cycle? But the shift happens when you begin to ask a different question. Not something like, what should I be doing? But something like, how has God designed me to connect with Him? Because when your faith practices begin to really align with your natural way of engaging, your personality and wiring, your current season of life, something really does change. What was once feeling really forced now starts to feel natural. What was once heavy starts to lighten up. And once the things that felt like effort for you start to feel like a real connection again. And that's where faith really starts to come alive, not through more pressure, but through that alignment. You know, I remember a season where I felt that shift so clearly. I loved God so deeply and I wanted to stay connected, but what I used to feel that was meaningful for me started to just feel repetitive, just something I did. The rhythms that I had relied on for years and years just weren't working the same way anymore. And I kept thinking, why is this so hard now? What am I doing wrong? Because you know what? On the outside, nothing looked off. Everyone saw what I was doing. But on the inside, something did feel different. And that's when I realized something really important. It wasn't that my faith was weak. And it wasn't that I didn't care. It was that the way I was trying to grow really no longer matched what I needed in the season that I was in. And once I really began to understand that, everything again shifted, became new, was different. So if your faith has been feeling really heavy lately, I want you to hear this. It's not a discipline problem. It's not a motivation issue. And it's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It simply may be a sign that the way that you're trying to grow no longer fits who you are right now. In that realization, it's not failure. It's actually the beginning of clarity. Because here's what most women have never been shown. There isn't just one way to connect to God. There's actually different ways that people naturally experience and grow in their faith. Some women, they connect most deeply through relationship and emotion. Others with reflection and meaning. Still others with understanding and structure. And then are others with their action and movement. And when you don't know this, it's easy to assume that if something isn't working for you, that you just need to try harder. But when you begin to understand how you are designed, again, everything changes. Faith begins to feel lighter, more natural, more consistent, more connected. Not because you're doing more, but because you're finally doing what fits you. So if you're thinking, hey, I resonate with this, I get this. If you're feeling that you have this quiet weight on your faith, I want to invite you, first of all, to take my Faith Shape quiz. That's in the description below. It's going to help you understand if you're a heart, soul, mind, or strength-led woman. You're going to uncover how you naturally connect to God in one of those four, why certain practices actually have felt draining and why they didn't work for you, and what may actually work for you instead. And if you're in a place where you're thinking, you know what, I don't even know where to start anymore because I keep restarting so much, I would love to talk to you. We can schedule a clarity call, again, down in the description, and we'll walk through where your faith is right now, where it's feeling heavy, and what alignment could actually look like for you. Because when you stop trying to force your faith into something that was never meant to be, you can finally experience a rhythm and practices that feel like connection instead of pressure. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to ask yourself, and you can put this in the comments if you would like. I would love to start that conversation in the comments. Think about this. Where in my faith does it feel like I'm pushing instead of naturally connecting? Where's that happening for you? I'd love to know. And remember, you don't need more pressure to grow your faith. It's not about more. You just need a way to grow that actually fits how God designed you. This is Deneen TB. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, be filled to overflowing.